1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.
Paralysis by analysis. That's what you get from the other guys, but not here, not now, and not ever. This is the Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. A look deep inside the game from a former player's perspective. The Septa Baseball Insiders Show is brought to you by Dion Square, Septa, Pat Dion Beverage, Penn Community Bank, and BCWSA. Let's go live and get set for the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts, Bill Werndl and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
Welcome to another edition of the Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Tommy, we're at a great place here. Sandy's Beef and Ale in Langhorne. Great menu, great beer, great ambiance here. And welcome again to the Baseball Insider Show.
Well, I appreciate it, Bill. It's always a pleasure to talk baseball with you and to be here at Sandy's Beef and Ale. Just the smells of this is unbelievable. You start smelling, it makes me put on 10 pounds walking in the door.
Absolutely. We have a lot of things to talk about. The new rules that have been implemented. And also the struggles of the Philadelphia Phillies right now. 5-10 out of the gate, not good.
Well, I tell you what, man. I mean, you hit it right on the head a little bit. I wish they could have heard our conversation before we went on the air a little bit, because we're going to be reliving that a little bit, probably in a cleaned up version a little bit. But that's the way we got it. But yeah, who would have thought they'd start out like this after the way they ended up last year a little bit on that good run and stuff, but. They've been beat up a little bit, Bill. I mean, you look at they're not healthy. I mean, all the way around a little bit. They got some big guys out. They got some of their starting guys that they're relying on or were wanted to see in there, not in there, and then some of the bullpen stuff is just not living up to what we need them to be right now.
Tommy, when you look at this pitching staff, and pitching is 80% of the game. All right.
Yeah.
Nola and Wheeler have been okay. But the other guys, with Suarez out, Falder pitched pretty well in 2 starts. Yesterday, he struggled a little bit. But, you look at this pitching staff.
Yeah.
What do you worry about most? Is it the starters or is it the bullpen?
Well, it kind of works together. I kind of worry. I mean, I worry about both of them because we need length from our starters that we haven't gotten right off at the beginning of this year. You look at some of the stats. I mean, not that I'm stat driven all the time, but all of our starters have now had roughly 3 starts, and I mean the most of innings of any starter with the 3 starts has been 15 innings, maybe 15 in the third.
Wow!
So we're averaging like 5 innings a start. I mean, I don't get. And what does that mean? It correlates in that teams get more looks at our bullpen guys, and our bullpen gets exposed. They're out there more often. Those guys they can get beat up pretty early in the season, and now if you don't have those guys throwing the pitches and having to work through situations a little bit more, you're going to run into issues like we're running into. Now, how many times is our guy who pitched there at the end yesterday, the position player,
Josh Harris.
Harrison. I mean, he's pitched twice this year. And to me, that's unbelievable. They got 13, 14 pitchers on that staff. I don't remember maybe one time when I played that, and we didn't have a 10 that we used one guy. Maybe. Somebody's got to down there in the bullpen. They got to have that starter that's lengthened out. They can give you that's pitching out of the 6th spot or whatever. It gives you those. They can go 5-6 innings if need be or more. That's the way it should be geared up out of spring training. They should be geared up to throw 100 pitches or more. That's just me. That's where the game's is being missed. I know we had a long year last year. Some of those guys, our big boys, they needed a little bit of time down to kind of recruit. I mean, but still, it's another year, and you expect them to pick up. They got to be ready to go when they go, and the only way to get ready is to do it. You can't coddle them all the time, but you just got to make sure they're healthy, and that's what I think they tried to do. But sometimes you get caught a little bit, and those guys, I don't think they were geared up, ready to go. I mean, because when you're throwing 80 pitches and they're pulling you out of the game, that's sometimes 4 innings of work. That's what it's happened. The first couple of times around, nobody was getting through 4 innings. So,
Tommy, when you're not able to stretch the pitchers out in spring training,
yeah.
That's where it really starts, isn't it? Because you want your pitchers to be able to go 7 innings the last couple of starts in spring training, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, to me, we harp on pitch counts and stuff like that, and and as a pitcher, it's not that. When I was coming up like that, we kept pitch counts, the charts for it that showed how many pitches we threw and to the batters and different things like that, but. It comes into the game. We try to condition ourselves as pitchers to go 9. And there's 9 innings in a ball game. And as a starting pitcher, I want to go as hard as I can. That don't mean you go out there and every pitch is 100%. You're maxing out on every pitch. No, some guys are more high effort than others, but you're trying to physically being able to go whatever it takes to go 9 innings if it's called upon, in that situation. Back in the era before me, there was a lot. It was more called upon those guys to do it because they didn't, like you said, they didn't care about 9 guys on the staff sometimes. Mm-hmm. I mean, somebody's got to eat it. You have to pitch that 3rd, 4th time through the lineup, and you don't see a lot of it. You hear today it's about the 3rd time through the lineup. Oh, they can't get through. We're just going to pull them. Because they're carrying 13 guys in, but those guys get exposed and more so, and you see things that happen. So I'm a big advocate, of the pit. Of the pit guys being ready coming out of spring training, pitch counts being able to throw 100 pitches and come out that way if they need to go that extra inning, 15 pitches or whatever, they can do that. They're geared to go that from the get-go. Rather less than the first month of the season, getting them ready to do it there. That should be got ready in spring training, not the first week of the season.
Tommy, another thing that I remember, and maybe I'm an old fuddy-duddy, but I remember when pitchers would chart the pitches of the opposing team. If you're a starting pitcher, you would be in the dugout or even sit in the stands and chart the pitches. I think that's one thing I didn't like, sitting in the stands. I like sitting. Ball players don't belong in the stands. Right.
I like to talk to I'm facing the team the next day because I'm charting it.
Right.
And I'm facing that team, and there might be a question I want to ask somebody, and I didn't ask the pitching coach how to pitch a guy. I went to the hitting coach and talked about, what are you seeing in this guy right here? You're having tough time getting him out. How do you think I can get him out with my stuff? You start having conversations during the game about that, and you're watching things. But while you're charting our guys, I'm watching those bats, but I'm charting our hitters, facing their guy, but I'm not necessarily his exact pitch. I'm not doing his pitches, but you're having to watch. So you're learning and watching other guys. You're into the ball game all the time, especially that day. You're having to do all that work because it's a reflection on you. You got to keep different things. We keep first pitch strikes and different type of thing. First, how many walks score, lead off walks that could cost you. That was fine stuff. You lead off walks would cost you. If it started getting out of hand, lead off walks. It made you think about it to be more aggressive with a guy that's leading off an inning, unless trying to. Some guys don't want to give up home runs. Well, you still got to throw strikes. You still throw quality strikes. You attack the zone. So, it's just one of the things. It's a good thing in baseball, charting pitches or being involved with it like that. And in the big leagues, we didn't do it. It was. But we watched. We'd done it all our minor league career, basically. We got in the big leagues. I know we didn't do it, but you get in that habit where you're watching it like that, too. You're sort of keeping notes like, to yourself, what happened in this game to cause this game to get out of hand, or what did he do well? He didn't walk anybody. There wasn't no leadoff walks. There wasn't no, that happened. So it was easy. It's easy to see if you step back and look at it, a little bit.
When you look at a pitcher like Aaron Nola,
Yeah.
I have a tough time with him because some games he looks like a Cy Young Award winner.
Well, he's a pitcher.
Other games he looks like a very average to below average pitcher. What do you notice in his makeup as a starting pitcher?
Well, he's a very cool customer.
Right.
You're not going to see any different, with the emotions or anything. He's very even keel as far as that's concerned. The biggest difference I think with Aaron, as far as when he's going good and bad, is fastball command, and where he misses with that fastball a lot, because he has his off speed, his breaking ball, his curveball. So, is a real good one. But if he gets in the habit with that fastball and it looks like at times he falls under, falls under it a little bit, and it stays on plane and it stays up in the zone. And when he get up in the zone all the time, he's in trouble. He's got to pitch down early so he can pitch up later. He can pop that one up, but it also makes that curveball come out of the same slot a lot more consistently, and it's hard for them to tell what it is. So when to me it comes down to fastball command a lot with him. It is, and it's not that he overly struggled. It's just it's about when he struggled in the past, when he had issues, his misses were over the plate, and that's what caused it. And the guys didn't miss them, so and they're paid to hit. So that's the things. I think it's just the basic things that every pitcher needs to work on. Today's baseball is they want guys to throw up in the zone more. The zone's bigger. They want to throw at the top of the zone more. Some guys are not conducive to do that all the time, or most of the time. Some guys got to work down to work up, at times. And I think with his type of stuff, that's where he's got a real cognizant. I know me. It was hard for me to get the ball down, but I know I needed to pitch down early. I used to ride the ball up, but they can time a jet through there. If you can't get it down, they're going to get you. But what made me effective was what me and Johnny Padres would do in the bullpen. I know we worked down, commanded down in a way early, or down in the zone early, So in the bullpen, what I wanted my bullpen catcher, whoever was catching, it could have been our backup guy, or our second string catcher, Todd Pratt, but most of the time it was our bullpen catcher. He was a smaller guy anyway, but I'd get him down on his knees, and spread out to get a little bit lower, to make me work to get down and out over my front leg better. So it become because that was my thing. Sometimes I want to stand up a little bit, and it's hard to get. You don't throw the ball down; you throw the ball through. Your legs get you down in the zone. So it made me work on my legs to ride to get down and out over my front. It's some of the little things you don't realize. You set your eyes, your target a little lower. You got a lower target. That's the way it comes out a little bit. But I know with Aaron, he's got to have that late life, that run he gets. I'd rather see that. And when he's down in the zone, he gets that run. It tends to get to ground balls. When he gets the ball up, he gets the fly balls. In our type of ballpark, that can cost him with the long balls too.
Now, that's a very good point. Of course, if you're keeping the ball down, the hitter's eyes are focused in the ball being down. Then you can run that fastball high.
It's just like we got this light that's shining up on us on our face right there. You're down in the zone. The hitters got their viewpoint down, and they're seeing it down there. And all of a sudden you pop one up, and they hadn't seen one up there. It's like that light right there. It comes on, and it looks about that big.
Right.
But their first move is like that, rim list, and staying on. They can't stay on top of it as much as they give you a pop up or swing and miss.
All right, Tommy. How do we put Humpty Dumpty back together again? 5-10 out of the gates. You mentioned about the pitching staff. You mentioned about the injuries. When do you think the number one guy in the Phillies will be back? And are you a proponent of him playing first base when he comes back?
I'll tell you what. They need to make sure this guy's ready. And obviously, swinging the bat wise, he's doing. As far as I know, he's doing what he needs to do to possibly be back earlier than they thought. But that's just swinging the bat wise. And then now you're hearing something about playing first base. I'm not an advocate of that right now. You got to really make sure that guy can do what it takes to play a position and throw a baseball. And especially like throwing from even consider first base, it's not going to be, you got to throw from a different angle. It's not everything. You might have to drop down and throw. You're exposing the arm more. You're not behind the pitch as much or behind the throw as much as sometimes. The concept is pretty cool. It's not a bad thing. I don't think a bad thing for him since he's going to be here as long as he's going to be here to learn that position and possibly being able to do that later and keep working on it. But for him right now, we don't need him to come back and then have to go back, to the IL, whatever you want to call it, the DL, IL, injured list, whatever. We don't need him to go back on there. We need him in that lineup.
All right, Tommy, we got to take a quick break from Sandy's Beef and Ale in Langhorne. Come on out. We have a good crowd developing right now. You've been listening to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We'll be right back.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Bill Werndl and former pitcher from the 93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
We are back at Sandy's Beef and Ale in Langhorne. Great place, wonderful food, great beverages, the whole deal. Septa's Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Tommy, the strikeouts.
Yeah.
That has to really get under your skin. It gets under my skin. It's a non-productive out. You got to put the ball in play and put pressure on the infielders and the outfielders.
Well, I mean, it's all in. People are into stats now. It's all in the way. It's not hard to see. It's all in the stats of what you see. We're hitting the baseball. We got guys batting, like we said in the first segment, hitting over 300 and doing some positive things. But it's all of a sudden it comes to a grinding halt when we get runners in scoring position or in, on base that we strike out a couple times. We're leading the base, basically almost leading Major League Baseball in strikeouts, when that's concerned. So we're, I know we've had opportunities where contact balls put in play could have made a difference in, scoring a run or not.
No question.
So, and those are the few things. It's the you've seen back in the day. I don't know. I don't watch their BP stuff in the way they do things. I know probably sure they work on it, but the old adage of when you get in the group gets into the cage, you're bunting them over. The guys, go start with a guy on first base, and you bunt him over to second. Okay, now the guy throws you a pitch, and you got to get the guy over. You're not trying to hit, the guys are trying to hit it the opposite way, stay inside of it, hit the ball on the ground, possibly the other way, or a base hit the other way, or a line drive, or whatever. To get the guy over to third base, and then the next thing you do, you got a guy on third. What are you trying to do? Less than 2 outs. What are you trying to do? You're trying to get him in, and whatever way you can get him in, the pitcher's trying to nullify that to try to maybe possibly get you to hit a ground ball to third base or something like that. To put the halt on the guy, but you're working on contact where you're hitting a fly ball to the outfield. Fly ball scores a guy from third, or obviously a base hit scores him and something like that. But a strikeout is not going to score him. A ball put in play has got a ground ball to short, a ground ball to second, a ground ball has got an opportunity to score it. But you're working on the fundamentals of get him over, get him in type mentality to score that one run, because it's a 0-0 ball game, and that one run that you do that on could win you a ball game. So no matter if it's 1-0, 7-6, or 8-4, or 12-11, like most of the fans want to see anyway. They want to see a high-scoring game. Except for our purist guys like ourselves, we want to see a well-pitched ball game where one swing of the bat does make a difference.
Tommy, Kyle Schwarber, they have him at the top of the lineup. In my opinion, struck out 200 times last year.
Yeah.
All right? He's a middle-of-the-order hitter, a fifth or sixth place hitter. I guess the analytics dictate that he's a top-of-the-order hitter. I don't think so. That's not the way I learn baseball. He's a guy that hits home runs, and a lot of times the home runs are solo jobs.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me.
Well,
now,
we want runners on with him with a chance to do things, and that's. They thought maybe dropping him down to where he's hitting that second, we're going to have Turner on a lot to do that, but he would do at least that. It's obviously we're 15 games in, but my thought was always have him somewhere near there in that lineup. Because he does have the power he has, and I'd rather him hit a 2 or 3 run homer than a 3-run homer than a solo all the time. But hey, I'll take a solo too. Don't get me wrong. But the key thing to him, and you look at things. What Philly was pretty decent at in some years past is the way they were on base, not necessarily by hitting. They walked too, and they walked. And this year they are 22nd. They're at the bottom third, in walks, and they're top of the league in strikeouts. So that's kind of like a flip-floppy type thing that's going on. And that's some of the things that, working counts and doing things, and there's a lot of swing and misses. And, and Topper said, we have to do a better job at the fundamentals of things, is working the counts and clean up the base running. He had it in the stuff that he said. I've got some stuff I wanted to make sure I hit, but that's some of the key things that we have to do, is the fundamental side of things. Is working the caps. They're getting themselves out. A lot of the guys. That's the part of the game, though. Hitters, as pitchers, we're talking. The hitters don't give them too much credit. They tend to get themselves out. Some of them are real aggressive, but it's all right to be aggressive. It can work in a positive way, and it can work in a negative way all the time, where you're swinging at everything. As you see sometimes with Castellanos, he gets, like last year, he was swinging at everything. I hope he stays, close to where he's at right now, but still cut down on the strikeouts, because he is striking out a lot. But, he's hitting right at 300, hitting a bunch of doubles that nobody's hitting a home run like we have. So there's some things we got to do better, and that's on every side of it. That's the offensive side, and that's the pitching side, and stuff like that.
Tommy, you talk about base running. that's all about thinking, isn't it? I mean, you have
It's
to
fundamentals, yeah.
absolutely. You have to be thinking.
Well, you got to know what's going to happen before it happens.
Right.
You got to tell yourself, it's like, where do I go if this ball's hit to me? Okay, where am I going if this ball's hit there? Where's my outfielders playing at? Am I have a guy shot and go for first or third? Or, there's one thing about being aggressive. You don't want to take that away from an athlete and their aggressiveness, but they also got to be a lot of times the ball's in front of you, and you get to judge it yourself a lot of times, and a lot of times they're running themselves in plays where ball hit. I mean, it's sort of like cardinal rules. The ball's hit in front of you, you sort of freeze unless you're trying to take off. They try to get away with something. You get caught. You never make the first and third out at third base. Which has been caught at the end of the inning, on us one time already, and maybe cost a chance. I think it cost a chance to win the game. It got the mojo going the other way where we possibly could have hit. I mean, we could have scored 2 or 3 runs because the run was taken off the board. He could have possibly ended up scoring on the base hit the next time. I mean, it changed. That's a 2-run swing or more in the course of a ball game, and that's huge. So you're running yourself and breaking the, so to speak, the mojo and the rhythm of the game a little bit in a positive manner for us, when you're doing stuff like this.
Tommy, it blows my mind when I see a guy jog down to first base, a ground ball to second.
He should just turn. He should just turn and stay on the bench for the rest of the game.
Right, exactly. It drives me crazy when I see a player just jog down to first base. Bust it out of the box.
Well,
you don't know if the guy's going to fumble the ball or.
You never know. What they say about assumptions, right?
Right.
No, that's
exactly.
It's the mother of all mess ups. Yeah. So, I mean, you assume things, and then you get caught, and it makes you look real bad, and it makes you look, and sometimes it's tough as a baseball player to get those pitchers out of the fans' head about they've seen you do this before. And they don't like it. They don't like that. The little dog that comes out a little bit. And I don't like it. So that's why you're taught as a young. I mean, we're young kids. There's one thing you can do is hustle. So you never know, there could be a bobble, and even though you might have dogged it out of the box that little bit, you were a little slow out of the box because you assumed that it was an out, but you saw him bobbing, and you were out by a tick. You could have been safe, and you ain't got one person to blame is you. You got to kick yourself because, you got to take pride in the way you go about your business. Now, we're human too. Sometimes you get frustrated, you have your bad days, but there's one thing you can do is hustle. That's what you got to keep telling yourself. And unless you have an injury like, and look at what Stubbs went through that one game. He'd come in and he was catching like that, and he was trying to run on a bad
hamstring.
I mean, it's unbelievable what he was trying to do. I could only imagine. That's painful stuff. But he don't. I mean, he was out there doing the best he could be. We needed him to be there that day. And he said, I'm grind it through. And sometimes you have to grind it through. Bill, that being a ex-player. I mean, and pitching and there's times you don't feel good and you might be sore, or you might have a little tweak or something like that it's not like a major injury. It's just something you got to work through. You just don't have it, and you got to figure out a way to do that. Don't mean I still can't locate a strike. I might be 2, 3, 4 mile hours short than I used to be. I mean, or I was the last time out, but don't mean I can't locate. I mean, unless you're hurting, unless it's a hurt, and there's or injury hurt type thing.
Tommy, team is not benefiting of beating up on the weaker teams. I mean, they got the Reds, who are not a very good team. They played the Rangers. Now, the Rangers are pretty good.
They look like a good team.
Yeah. They do look like a good
against
team.
Us.
But you have to beat up on the weaker teams in baseball, because if you play 500 against the good team and you beat up on the bad teams, maybe
good year.
Yeah, that's where you really make hay is against the weaker teams, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the way you look. I mean, you need to beat the people that or beat the teams that you need to beat that are not playing well or struggling. But and the way I look at it, you take a step back. We expect to be one of the elite teams, but right now we're not one of the elite teams. We're one of the teams that people should beat because we're making the mistakes. the poor mistake, and we're not doing what we need to do right now. They need to make hay off us, and some of them are, and until we get doing what we need to do, what we're capable of doing, then we're the good team again, and we've proved it. There's no reason why they can't do it. Now it's all about, there's some guys that got to step up because we do have injuries that we're having to deal with, and that's part of baseball. We did it last year. We got to do it again this year. Now, hopefully they can find it and people step up that do that. It gives us a chance to hold on till we get most of that core back to do that. Obviously, we're going to be missing 30 home runs and 85, 90 RBIs with Hoskins at first. No matter what people say about him, that's still offense that you were pretty much guaranteed to have, and that's a huge thing, coming and a presence in a lineup that can do things, So, we got some work to do, but the thing about it, you got to pitch it, you got to defense it, and catch it. You do that. If we pitch consistent, we don't have to be great. Pitch consistent, play good defense. You're giving your offense a chance to do some things, and then we just got to clean up the offense a little bit and quit running ourselves in the outs and put the ball in play a little more.
Tommy, we got to take a quick break, but Sandy's Beef and Ale has a special sandwich.
How about
Not
that?
a sandwich,
Yeah.
a sandwich. And you got to try it when you come to Sandy's Beef and Ale. They also have beef and pork, the tailgater, the junkyard dog. I love that one. And the 50-game suspension. We'll be back on the Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA from Sandy's Beef and Ale House. Come on down.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
At Penn Community Bank, we're your financial partner for all of life's moments. Our checking accounts are designed with you in mind, providing convenient access and 5-star mobile and online banking services to help you achieve your goals. Right now, you can earn a $350 cash bonus for opening a qualifying new checking account with direct deposits in the first 60 days. Visit PennCommunityBank.com/cash bonus to learn more. Penn Community Bank, here we grow. Offer terms and conditions apply. Limited time offers subject to change. As for full details, member FDIC.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Bill Werndl and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
Welcome back to Sandy's Beef and Ale in Langhorne. Septa presents the Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Tommy, we're back. Chris Irmer, our great producer, just brought something up.
He is the man, by the way. He makes this stuff happen, man.
No question. That the other night, the Phillies had Dollar Dog Night. Tuesday night, they had Dollar Dog Night, and the fans were throwing the hot dogs in the stands. I guess they're a little upset about the result of the game. What do you think? They had to suspend the Dollar Dog Night? What do you think, Tom?
Hey, you never know what's going on, man.
Right.
Fans get upset a little bit. They start tossing everything. It's unbelievable. I mean, it works out good for some people because some people are raking in the product a little bit. That's the way you look at that stuff. They're going home and have to worry about buying food for a week. That's the way I look at it.
Tommy, how many hot dogs did you ever consume at one sitting at a ball game?
Oh, I tell you what. I'm going to tell you just a quick little story.
Right.
My rookie ball year, I go to Pulaski, Virginia. Okay,
Right.
We play a game, whatever time it is, but in that little small place in Virginia, there was no place open past like 10 o'clock or 9:30 or
Right.
9:10, and if the game wasn't over, we didn't eat. So where we stayed at, I had two roommates. We stayed at the last room of the Clater Lake Motel. There was a one room, just a motel room, had two beds and a cot. And we switched nights on who got to sleep on the cot, right? The only good thing about it, the lady come in and clean the room every day. Everything was clean, so that was a positive, But those games we couldn't make it to something to eat. At the Hardee's or whatever. I mean, that's basically a bunch of fast food junkies is what it was. And you didn't have Domino's there. It was in the middle of nowhere, in the mountains. And there was this truck stop right across the interstate, on the other side of the interstate from where we stayed, and they sold foot-long chili dogs. I ate too many of those that year because I haven't really had too. I mean, I'll eat a sausage dog. I like sausage, but I haven't had any really hot dogs in a long time.
Wow.
I'll tell you. So but back when I was younger, I don't know. I liked hot dogs back then, but I was just too much.
Wow, that's amazing. Tommy, let's look at some of the new rule changes they've implemented in baseball this year. The pitch clock, the outlawing of the shift, the bigger bases.
Yeah.
You only can throw over a couple of times the first base. What do you think of this? And they continue to use that ghost runner at second base in extra innings. What are your feelings about these new rule changes that have been implemented?
The pitch clock, I'm okay with the pitch clock. I'm just not okay with the time. I think there needs to be more time because we as pitchers, we're not you need to settle things down a little bit when things start getting out of control, because as you can see, when things start going, I said it off air. I think the tendency is you almost turn into an Iron Mike pitcher because you're having to speed up and do everything, and you're not gathering yourself to stay in control of the situation a little bit more, giving yourself a better chance to succeed as a pitcher. We're not out there to be batting practice guys, and give up runs all the time and all that type of things, and to be critical about things, and then you fall behind the count when the time runs out. Whatever happens, it puts you in a bad situation as a pitcher, pitching from behind or whatever, and I think there should be different time. I think there should be more time added. I think they need to adjust that.
30 seconds?
I mean, that would be great, but does it have to be that much? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it would be great for it to have that much, but, and I don't think the guys would use all that, but there's times you might need to take that step off for that. That's what we're talking about now. I mean, yeah, you can use one of your throw-over things where you can't throw over more. That brings us into that. They call timeout, and you get to gather yourself like that for an extra. But they start the clock right back up again. I mean, it's in the pickoffs. That to me, that's a joke. You're messing with the fabric more right there, because that's the cat and mouse game, of the base runner and the pitcher. Also, the hitter. You're throwing over. The hitter wants to hit. I mean, and their job as a hitter sometimes is to step out to mess with us and to mess up with our time and maybe frustrate us. That was what was so great about the game. And you saw games in the past, it wasn't that long. And we didn't have the pitch clock. We didn't have instant replay. We didn't have, whatever we're doing, the games that you got well-pitched ball games. You got games where they scored runs. I mean, and we played decent ball games in a decent amount of time, not messing with anything or not changing anything. Now, there's times move on, things change a little bit, and there's nothing wrong. You have to be able to adjust to different things, but I don't think they should be messing with the fabric of the game. To change a game. where one of this pitch clock is going to affect the way a game could end, and stuff like that. And I mean, because you can give up a run, you fall behind the counts. I mean, it's stuff. There's some things I think they got to address with it, I know they made the bases, bigger, which I can see a little bit, some injuries there, trying to create more action. I got it, more base running because they don't do that like it used to be back in the day. It was more prevalent back in our eras, back before. But it's the rules, say the pitch clock, the throwovers, the ghost runner. Putting the guy on second base in the 10th inning. Never been an advocate of that from the very beginning. I heard that the guys like it, but I don't. I mean they got 13-man bullpens. I mean, why if the starters are doing what they're are lengthened out to do what they need to do, and they can give you 6-7 innings, 115 pitches, 110, 15 pitches. That's where they should be geared at least to go anyway, if not more. It all depends on the type of game or innings you're pitching. More stressful than others. More games are more stressful than others, and that dictates a lot of things too. But it's just a lot of things. I guess it's just the eras we come up in, Bill. We're just not used to. It's just a change for us, which is see the way the game's playing. It's turned into more mechanical. Like we were even talking about robot umps. I'm like, you kidding me, right? We've got enough of that right now. The umps, they make mistakes. Now the instant replay, we stop everything on a close play to look at it. It's already changed enough. They don't need to be doing too much.
You mentioned replay.
Yeah.
How about only 1 minute for replay instead of
I didn't
three,
know.
4
Why does
minutes?
it take that long sometimes?
It shouldn't. Maybe 40.
I don't get it. But I can see when it first started. I think it's a big thing should be like fair and foul balls, home run balls, and stuff like that. That should be the time you get a chance to check. Besides that, I think they should leave the game alone. If the umpire misses, he misses. It's just like us. We're not, it's the same thing. It's not going. It's not a perfect world. It's not trying to make everything perfect to be everything right. It's just like we're talking about the length of games out there, and I love the fans and dearly. And being an ex-ball player now, I'm involved with the radio and different sides of thing. People talk about the length of it and stuff like that. Say, why do we have radio? Okay, if you have to leave the ballpark, it's getting too long for you. You got to get up in the morning to go. Why not listen to L.A. and Fransky on the way home to finish in the ball game?
Yep.
That's part of it too. I know you want to experience, but you are experiencing what the game's about. This is the way it could go. Sometimes it could be a longer game. Why is it longer? Oh, there's more people getting hits too and running around the bases. And then now we're stopping play to even try to get. To say we're getting things right. Well, what's wrong with the frailty of the game a little bit in the human aspect of it? We can go round and round, throw punches back and forth, but I do like baseball in its purest form, and that's the human element, and when you're having that.
Jerry Crawford said the same thing.
Yeah.
Boundary calls, yes, for replay. Former Major League umpire, and I agree with you. I think a play at first base, the umpire is going to miss it.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. And it makes for good talk after a game. Was he safe? Was he out? The whole deal.
Yeah.
That's the way I think it should be held.
I know there's been times, even back before we had replay and stuff, what I know as a player we wanted probably is to be able for the umpire to ask for help. On a play where it was pretty obvious the guy was out. One in particular, it was happened in Detroit on a no-hitter.
Jim Joyce.
Yeah. And it was so obvious, everybody in the ballpark, even the other umpires knew, other than him.
Mm-hmm.
Other than him. So that should be a time when the umpires got to say, hey, let's get together on this. Did I miss it or whatever? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. That's the human element.
Right.
And you get it right. But see, that's why they brought replay, But I should think with that one instance where I think umpires should take it upon themselves to do that. They should have some kind of signal where it itself missed it, and especially if somebody's raising a stink about it.
Right.
It was that obvious. It should be able to do it. But how do you go about it when not doing it all? And that's why the replay come around a little bit more. So they wanted to make sure they get it right. But to answer some of your question about it, it shouldn't take that long to do it. But I got a problem with every play.
Yep.
Stopping it.
Yeah.
Stop. And it's almost like wait a minute. Oh, they're getting a call from upstairs. It's all that stuff I don't like.
I don't like it either. Tommy, the Phillies, once they get Suarez back and Painter, seems like they'll have a pretty good rotation. This is an interesting point because
Painter they got to be careful with.
All right, you went through it because you're a big, strong number one pick like Painter. How do you handle a kid like Painter going forward? Do you shut him down for the year? I know he's throwing a little bit now. How do you handle the situation?
Well, you just got to they got a plan and what they're doing. They're going to follow it. It's all going to be geared around him, how he's feeling. He's got to learn how to communicate what he's feeling, no matter, to the trainers and stuff like that he's going through. But the biggest thing, the person that he can draw off of has already been through it in the organization was Nola. Nola went through sort of the same thing. And it didn't end up having to have the surgery. We thought he thought he was going to have to. When we first had him, we thought, oh no, he might end up having to have Tommy John. But he ended up taking that break and coming back. And he was better for it because he got to do things that made him better, which was get his mechanics as far as getting on his legs and do what he needed to do. He come back better for it. So that's some of the things he's got to learn. Painter's going to learn more about himself as his body. He's going to get a chance to mature out with that body of his because he's so tall, And
like
hopefully
you.
he does. Well, he's taller than me. He's like 6'7", I think. He was huge. As far as, so it's a big thing. So he's got to take this time. He's a young man. Use it, and just get stronger and listen to your trainers and do the program to let it heal. And gradually strengthen it up. You can't force it. You just got to go through the process.
All right, Tommy, we got to take a quick break from Sandy's Beef and Ale in Langhorne. You're listening to the Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. Tommy Greene will be right back.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Bill Werndl and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
Welcome back to Sandy's Beef and Ale in Langhorne. And the show today on WBCB is brought to you by Septa, the Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Tommy, we have a shout-out today.
Yeah.
The owner of Sandy's Beef and Ale will be celebrating his 25th birthday tomorrow. All right?
25th?
Dave's the owner. 25 years young.
Dave?
All right.
25?
Happy birthday, Dave.
Happy birthday, brother.
All right. Tommy, next Sunday is the Fanatic's birthday.
Oh, my.
Can you believe
They're going to stop traffic on Broad Street for that, man.
Do you believe the Fanatic is the most popular person in Phillies history?
It's amazing. It's amazing what that creature does, you know, and how he affects people. And he just puts a smile on your face, doesn't he?
Right.
It's amazing how that happens. When you go to the ballpark, you get a chance to see him like that. You know, it's especially little kids. It brings the little kid back out in you a little bit. And every grown-up wants to act a little crazy like him, too, so which is good.
You know, it's funny about the Fanatic. He would really get under the skin of one Tommy Lasorda.
How about those days, man?
Tommy Lasorda would go crazy with the Fanatic.
It was classic. Yeah, they used to run it. We used to do it before games, you know, and we made sure we were out against the Dodgers. We were out on the bench.
Right.
We wanted to see what the Fanatic was going to do.
Right.
You know, it was some things he got him out there, but Lasorda would chase him.
Right.
He'd chase him out on the field. It was unbelievable.
That was incredible. Tommy, let's turn back to the Phillies. We talked about Painter, Suarez, hopefully back in the rotation.
Yeah.
You're Rob Thompson right now. Is it time to have a players-only meeting, maybe with the manager included? How do you think they should approach it right now?
Well,
you think a players-only would be the best way to go?
Well, it's not the only time you have a players only, I think, type of thing is when you got the struggles that they're going through and you got the guys acting like it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? It's not that's when you need somebody's got to have get their situation checked a little bit, and you can't be, you know, thinking it's okay to be pitching the way you are or we're doing the way we are and for us to act like we're winning, you know, winning the division and stuff like that all the time. You know, there's times you got to go about your business in a professional manner and do what you need to do because the writing's on the wall. You know, they're 28th in ERA. You know, the pitching staff is. You know, they got the third most walks in the big leagues. You know, and I mean it's and it's in the WHIP. You know, you let people keep up with that. I had to look at what it meant. You know, it was walk plus hits over innings pitched, and we're 28th in that. I mean, that's right there at the bottom. You know, so I mean, and the adage is no way, but you know, we're pitching bad. There's only one way. That's up. You know, so they got. I mean, they're going to get better. They're going to pitch better. So let's just hope we have that rise that it comes up that we can consistently pitch on that level that keeps us in games and gives us a chance to win. We cannot afford to be beat 13-0, or it's bad enough being beat 4-3. You know, and that type of stuff. Those hurt too, just the same. But those are embarrassing, you know, type stuff. You know, and we have to be better at what we do a little bit.
All right, you've had an opportunity to watch Soto pitch, an opportunity to watch Kimbrel pitch. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from these guys so far this year?
Soto is, I mean, he's going to be fine where he's at. I mean, he's pitching okay right now. I mean, he's thrown the first couple of outings, he kind of scuffled a little bit. You know, come out, it's the first. I mean, it affects people in different ways. At the beginning of the year, you're amped up, ready to go, controlling your emotions and different things. You get that adrenaline going, and things can get out of hand pretty quick, especially as a reliever. You don't have. I mean, it can happen quick. And you can look at numbers all you want, but relievers, I think, can get construed real quick. So it doesn't take me that one bad out and he gives up 2-3 runs. It takes you the rest of the month to get you, get your ERA back down and different things like that. You can have a great month. You just have one bad outing. You have to look at the whole body of work and that type of thing. He's getting there. Could he be a little bit better, more consistent? Yeah, but he's pitching a lot better than he was. Kimbrel. He's not the Kimbrel of old, and everybody expects him to be, but we do need him to be a little bit more consistent in what he does well. Are we expecting him to be the old guy? Yeah, we'd love to have it, but we got to be realistic in things. We do. He's a piece in that bullpen. He's not the end all be all. We're going to use him when we need him. The guy we really need that needs to be better, has got to be better for us, Sir Anthony. That guy has got to be better. For some reason, I can't figure out with the type why he's getting hit the way he is and stuff. And it's going to have to. He's just going through a time where he's going to have to figure it out, and hopefully it doesn't cost us in the process.
Tommy, I know that right now it's bullpen by committee. All right. Mm-hmm. Do you think Alvarado should be your closer?
Well, he's daggone sure pitched like it. I mean, to me, he's not. What, he gave up one run maybe?
Yeah.
On a home run, that was it. And the rest of basically everybody else he's faced, he struck out. I mean, it's a different beast. Some people, I've talked to Mitch Williams, I've talked to Dickie Knowles, and my friends that done it. Mitch especially done it for a long time. They always thought pitching the ninth was easier than. I know Dickie said that to me. It was easier than doing whatever. But the way people handle situations is different. People are wired different. To me, he's throwing strikes. I mean, why wouldn't he be a guy? To consider if we're having that issue to closing ball games. We haven't won enough ball games to close ball games. We haven't been in a situation to do that. So how we know how our guys are going to do? We ain't been in that situation to save a ball game. Really, you look at it. We won 5 out of 15. Been different for won 10, 11, 12 of them.
Tommy, when you look at Alec Bohm,
yeah,
they're moving him from third to first, back to third. Mm-hmm. Do you like that, or would you rather have him stay at third base?
Well, it's a need, and it's good that you have an athlete that can do that. I mean. Nobody, you didn't want to take Schmitty back in the day off third base,
right.
And do that. But because you never had that problem like we had. We had your two main first basemen down with surgical issues. You got to go to somebody. You have nobody, down in the minor leagues, but you got a guy you want to keep his bat in the lineup too, obviously. But also you got a guy that's been playing for us pretty good, and sadly he went down yesterday. Sosa, he's been swinging the bat pretty good, and he plays good defense for us, even though he should have caught a ball. I thought he should have caught it. They should have gave him error for it, even though the ball was hit hard, but down at third base. But I think it's a good thing that Baum's able to play first, but it keeps his bat there. I would like to see him third all the time. That means we got Reese there, and your first baseman there. We don't have the problems with with our injuries, So, but that's the nature of the game. The nature of the beast is to have to overcome these injuries. Sometimes you have to do some things, and I think the Phillies are having to do that right now. It's not a bad thing having Baum there.
Now, our good friend, the great producer, director extraordinaire, just gave you a note about payroll services for the week.
Yeah, payroll services stat of the week. And you know what? I didn't even know that. That was doing it. That didn't happen last week. So right. You're the stat of the week. I'm gonna say about the week that it's not gonna have to be a good stat. It could be a stat, right? Hey, we won 2 out of 7 games. We need to be better at it. That's the stat we need to be better at. We need to reverse that. We need to go 5-2. How about 6-1 or 7-0? Hey, I'll take that. But that's what next week I'll know. I'll be a little better at the stat of the week.
You had a great stat here.
Well, I mean, I've got a bunch of them. We're talking about, and we've just had a negative week, really. In things, and I don't like to dwell on the negative all the time, but also I don't want to sugarcoat anything either. And that in general is the 2-5 record for the week. We need to be better at it, and that's going to be the stat of the week, the payroll service solution stat of the week. That's what that is. To be
I
better
like
at
that. Way to go, Chris Irmer. Now, Bryson Stott makes a transition from short to second. Everybody thinks it's an easy transition. It's not really an easy transition, is it?
No, it's not. You have to. There's a lot of little things that go through. I mean, I played when I was young, when I was little, second short, and stuff like that. When I could run because I was little, younger, and But I got to learn how to play the game, and from that viewpoint, and the different things you have to do, and his throwing style, a little bit different, and the way he does things, reading balls off the bat. And it's just the little things that means a lot because he's athletic enough to do it, and he's proved that. He's doing a very good job over there. He did a very good job playing last year, when he go behind DD, and I mean he was feeling, and he got the opportunity to play full time at short and showing and proving that he can play in a premium position out there, and he had the smarts and the arm to do it too. So him to play second, I think, not that it's any easier. I think he was already comfortable, with things, and that's a huge thing when you got that confidence.
And he's become a better hitter, too.
Well, there's no doubt about it. There's one thing that I don't want to say surprised me, but maybe it did a little bit, is the way he was able to work counts as a rookie last year. And that's what it was one of his real good attributes. He could work counts, but also, but he could stay in. He could stay into that bat, but fouling off good pitches and stuff like that to put balls in play. He had some timely hits last year, even though especially through the first part of the season, so his average suffered. But then over the second half and stuff, he he come a long way. He ended up hitting 285 or whatever for that stint, which you take. If I could have 285 from here all year, I'd take it. Would it be great to have him over 300? Hall of Famers bat over 300. You can expect somebody to do that all the time. Hey, he's had a pretty good start to our year, and for him to do what he's been doing is a good thing. And I think he learned a lot by last year because he changed a little bit. He went to an approach that changed him, and he had that good second half or whatever he did, and now he's back doing it. But he, for some reason, wanted to change it over spring training and try something a little bit different. And it didn't work out. He was struggling in spring training, so he went back to his approach and the way he was what he did in the box. I think he spread out a little bit more of I want to say a two-strike approach, but a no-stride as much. And he tends to put the ball in play better and use the field better. And that's what why would it change? What would you change from last year? But that's the way he's done this year, and it's been a blessing to see him. And it's been a good thing to see him do as good as he has been.
Are you concerned about JT Realmuto? He caught
he's got to be.
Well,
but still, he's swinging a lot and missing. Swinging and missing a lot for him, I think. He was he went through his times last year, but overall, it's like a notorious. Last year was a slow start. This year's more of a slow start. I think he's going to be okay, but we need him. That's no question about it. He has a dynamic. He has a dynamic in that lineup where he bats at that can change things. So he's got speed. He's got and things, and they're trying to give him some days off when they can. Some time off. To make sure he stays fresh. But those days off when you're not hitting, not necessarily doesn't do you any good either. He needs to be in there to hit. So we got to try to turn this thing around a little bit for him because we need him swinging the bat too.
The one guy that's really made improvement hitting-wise, a very good center fielder, is Brandon Marsh.
How about that, man?
Would you play him every day, regardless of who's on the mound?
Well, I'll tell you, he's proved it. He's proved that he can do it. It's. I don't see why you wouldn't. That's sort of why you traded for him, to have that center fielder out there, and that's pretty much what they're doing with him. He's pretty much playing pretty much every day, So and for him to be hitting over 300 like he is right now, I mean, the bottom of that lineup, say you got Stott, and usually Stott's there, and they've kind of flipped him a little bit, and he's been doing some leadoff every now and then, but that bottom of that lineup, with Sosa, and the guys that are getting a chance to play now, I mean, you can't ask for no better. They're turning the lineup over. They're turning it over to get it up there to the top, with men on, and we're not doing it with men on, So, and even though some of our guys are hitting over 300, we're just not getting the timely hit, to maybe push across that run. I mean, it's got to get better. I think I'm trusting that it's going to get better.
Does that become a mental thing with players when they realize the club as a whole are not hitting well with men in scoring position? Does a guy try to do too much?
Yeah, I mean, I can't vouch for that. I mean, could that be a possibility? Yeah. But I think you go back as a player, you go back to the basics. That's what you're working on each day, Go back to your BP where you're getting them over, getting them in type situations. And you're trying to keep it simple. You're using your mistakes by, you're learning from them the night before what caused me to make the mistakes, especially I'm talking as a pitcher here now, but, what cost me in the game yesterday right there was the location of, it could have been a location of a fastball, a location of a slider, could have been, was it the right pitch in the right situation? Or, I mean, do you question that, or was it a poorly executed pitch? Could it have been better? Or did I execute most of my pitches tonight? I pitched a pretty good ball game tonight, and sometimes you tip your hat to the guys, you get beat, I mean, that's the way you have to live your life as a ball player. You got to be willing to look back and learn from the game before, but also apply it to the next day in a positive manner. And so you get that positive frame of mind. You're working on the positive things and doing things that carries you into the game that night.
When do you think they'll see Suarez back in the rotation, and are you concerned with the back?
With him, I don't necessarily say he's always, it seems like a little bit going on with him, but it's just like any of those guys that are dinged up, they're coming off with some injuries. They got to make sure they're ready to go. He needs to be in his rehab. He needs to be ready to go. He don't need to be rehabbing up here, giving us 4 innings. He needs to be ready to stretch it. He needs to be ready to go 100 pitches. And give us that type of action. So, I mean, they need to make sure he's right.
Absolutely. Tommy, we put a wrap on this show right now. One more minute.
Okay.
Anything else? So they're going to play the White Sox for 3 games, then they come back with the Rockies. You would hope they would get on a little bit of a run, right?
Well, we got and as a baseball team and a player and stuff, you got to take one game at a time. You got to play good baseball tonight. Start from the first inning. Start with hustling. Start with see it and hit it, and if it's a strike, and then field it and see it and catch it. And if you're playing defense, and try to know what your job is to do. Read the base running when you're reading the know what's happening. It's in front of you, and it's doing the smart aggressive thing. So that's what you want to be. You want to be aggressive, force some things when you can, but. Play good, sound baseball. That's what we got to do right now to get back out of this rut, man.
Tommy certainly enjoyed pinch hitting for John Brazier today. It was a great time here at Sandy's Beef and Ale in Langhorne. Septa's Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. We'll be back next week, but stay tuned for Phillies on Deck. First pitch with the Phillies at 1:40 today. Have a great day.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.